everyone in the room for making it to the Franker Z room for our hottest stream with a full-time job and family panel. Give yourselves a round of applause for making it out and coming and hanging out today. Shout out to everybody here in the room and home on Twitch, hanging out in the chat. I'm your host and moderator for the panel today, Khalif Adams of the Spawn on Me podcast. We are folks who showcase and spotlight people of color in the video game industry on our show. But this panel is absolutely about these wonderful folks who are rocking with us today on stage. We're going to go down the line and give them a chance to introduce themselves. First up is W. Greats. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
I'm doing fantastically.
Are you folks doing good?
You doing okay?
After this panel, you may revise that, so just bear with us a little.
Give the folks at home a little bit of info about yourself.
So I'm the person that puts together this panel every year. I definitely want to thank Twitch for allowing me that opportunity. During the day, I'm a full-time IT manager, and I'm away from my house about 55 hours out of the week. And then I come back and I stream about 28 to 32 hours during the week. I love hosting this panel every year. I usually have some wonderful people up here. And this year's no exception, so definitely going to go right here in Matoro.
Next down the line.
Well, I'm a full-time student, which is the reason I'm here, and thank you, Greats, for the opportunity.
Real close.
Okay. And I go to the class about, I don't know how many hours a week, it's too many, but I'm a full-time student, as said, and I've been doing that for the better part of 7 years now. I haven't figured out what I wanted to do until like 2 years ago. So that's me.
Awesome. Next up is...
Hey, I'm Marstead. I usually tell people I'm a house husband first because if they're going to be weird about that, they're going to be super weird if I tell them my wife works all day and I play video games all day. But, no, it's pretty good. I'm an affiliate. I'm a bit smaller, but I've got a nice small community, and I kind of want to talk about that today.
Thunderstones, you're up.
Hi, my name is Thunderstones. I work full-time as a warehouse supervisor, nothing glamorous. I stream a typical week about 28, 30 hours a week. And that's about me. I just kind of work, come home, eat real quick, stream, repeat all the time.
Nice. Last but not least, we have Firecrow.
Hi, I'm Firecrow. I've been a streamer for 6 years, a partner for 5 of those, and I'm a senior software QA test engineer, which means that I get to break all the software that people don't want me to break. I work about 40 to 50 hours a week on my day job, and when I stream between 25 and 30 hours, plus all the added time that you plan for streams. Don't ever forget that time. That's work.
Nice. Firecrow, pull your mic a little bit closer to you. Thank you. Before we get into the topic at hand for today, I want to know, how is your TwitchCon going? Everything good so far? How's it been? Great?
Crazy.
Well, yours is fantastic. You're all here and doing wonderful stuff. I want to talk to you folks about how your TwitchCon is going. How's your TwitchCon going?
It's been crazy busy. My day started out at about 7 a.m. this morning, and I started out with streaming, then I went to a brunch, and now I'm here, all with like half hours in between. So
Oh my God.
that was yesterday, too.
Oh my God.
It's a lot of fun.
Marathon, man. I dig it.
Got to
Tyra?
stay busy.
Yes, absolutely. I'm Tyra. How you doing?
I'm exhausted, but, you know, that's TwitchCon. That's any con. But it's good to see friends from all over again.
Yeah, Marstead?
I'm having a really great time. I've been to PAX many, many times. The only TwitchCon I went to was the inaugural one in San Francisco. So it's really kind of cool to see how this has evolved in the last 4 or 5 years.
Thunderstones.
Pretty good. This is my first convention ever, so
Nice.
it's a little overwhelming. A little overwhelming, but it's been wonderful.
Oh, Firecrow.
I've been busy. Meetings, dinners, meetings, running around all over the city, but it's been great. It's fantastic. It's always fun at TwitchCon. Always
Awesome.
fun.
So I'm really excited about this panel, and when the pitch came through, I was like, oh, I know exactly how some of this feels, and I know that you all do too. The first question that we want to dig into is, what is so important about work, Twitch, life, balance? Whoever wants to take that question first, I'll let you go.
Oh, me? It's really important because obviously if you're not balancing it pretty good, that's where burnout comes. And it's really important to, have hobbies to yourself, like have some you time, because if you don't have that and you keep going, you're just gonna burn out. You don't have time to yourself. you know.
Yeah, definitely. Streaming is fun, and I encourage everybody to do it for fun, and then go anywhere else you want to go with it after that. But take the time to breathe. Do something that's fun away from computers.
Yeah.
Because your sanity will thank you for it down the road.
Yep.
I stream 6 days a week, so I take Wednesdays off, but I still even work my day job. So most of the time when it hits Wednesdays, I'm just gone from the computer. I'm gone from a lot of my phone. It's important to take that extra time away. Like, you can go hardcore, and when I first started, I went 7 days a week for about 3 months, but if you keep doing that, you're just going to burn out. You're not going to want to touch your computer. You're not going to want to touch streaming or even a video game. And especially if you're working a full-time job and doing things full-time, this is your outlet normally. It's a gaming outlet, and then you decide to add streaming on it, so now it's become a little bit more than just gaming. And if you don't have that relaxation time to take you away and kind of let you recharge, it becomes a chore, it becomes work, and you already have a day job. You're trying to stay secure and maybe move it into something else or even make a little money. You don't need another job on top of your full-time day job to begin with. You want something to relax you and have fun. And sometimes it's going to be a little bit of work, but if you're not having fun doing it, there's hundreds of other things you can have fun doing and recharge yourself so you can go back to your day job.
Any other thoughts on that? Moving on.
Sure. Setting aside Twitch, like in a lot of places, our general attitude towards work-life balance is really toxic. Like, my wife and I lived in Silicon Valley for 2 years, and when I first moved there, I was just culture shocked by people that would compete over who's getting the least sleep and brag about, who has the least free time. And it's really easy for that sort of attitude to infect streaming, because we as streamers have this opportunity cost anxiety. We're thinking about every hour of the day as this is an hour that I could be spending growing my channel, In the business world, I think that this toxic work-life culture starts at your relationship with your boss. And a lot of people will be like, oh, when you're a streamer, like, you don't have a boss, you're your own boss. But your boss is the person that you're most accountable to. And I think as a streamer, your audience is basically your boss. And personally, and this isn't for everybody, but I would like to have a boss that treats me like a human being. So I try to build an audience that understands and supports me wanting work-life balance. I don't want a community where I'm stressed about losing subscribers if I take time off. So I think what you want to do is from the very beginning, you want to be trying to get viewers in that will encourage you to take a sick day if you're not feeling well, or will encourage you to take vacation and is not going to freak out if you are gone for a week or need to leave.
Is that, I'm just really curious, is that a thing that you had to communicate to your chat early on, or was that a thing that you found that kind of happened organically throughout the times you stream?
It's a mix of the two. I think you want to be talking about work-life balance live all the time. And you want to, when people are in there, you just kind of plant this in their minds that I care about this and you should care about it too.
Great. I love that answer. How do you balance your streaming and family priorities? That is a fantastic question. Who wants to snag that one first?
Sure. Grace just looks right at me. All right, so the problem is when you come home from work, give yourself some time. Don't go from work to your office or your setup and start streaming. Your family will be like, what, are we not important? Take some time, take an hour, hour and a half, have dinner with them, maybe cook dinner yourself, spend some time with the family, make sure they know you're thinking about them and you care about them and you're always there. Same thing when you get up for a break. If you get up for a break for 5 minutes to walk around, stretch, get a drink yourself, pop your head in and let your other half know that, hey, love you, and no, it keeps you balanced. It keeps them from resenting the time you're putting into something that they don't have much involvement in. Or you could even try involving them a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The running joke, I laugh because
You can try.
Wait. I laugh because there's a running joke in my community. My other half is Peanut Gallery, and she's forever sticking her head in my office and making snarky comments at my expense. But it's part of the show, and people love it because it adds them a sense of the family that you have. So don't ever be afraid of balancing that out a bit. Don't think you have to go all the time from the minute you walk in the door to the minute you go to bed.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in on that? Because this is really important.
Yeah, you definitely have some time to eat dinner. I always try to make sure to eat dinner with my husband, 30, 45 minutes. If we can, we always eat lunch together. That's times of the day that add up that you might not normally get with them. So that's really important, is to, take little chunks of the day. And like he said, whenever I get up to use the bathroom or get some water during a stream, I pop in, see what he's doing. So that's really important, and just, keep connected with them.
So I think my big one is just communication. Like my wife is the breadwinner. If she suddenly didn't have a paycheck, I don't make enough money from Twitch to pay all of our bills. And when you have a financial imbalance like that, you got to be talking about it constantly. You have to be asking, is this still working? Is there anything I can do to make the situation feel more fair? When you're financially dependent on someone else, it doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be living with your parents and pursuing streaming. There's a lot you can do to feel like you're contributing and still make time for a serious hobby like streaming. And there's also a lot of variables with your stream that you can tweak. The most obvious one is number of hours that you're streaming per day, but there's other knobs that you can adjust. And just to give you one example, like how much time are you spending engaged with your community off stream? Like how much time are you spending in your Discord?
Yep.
If you have set the expectation that your viewers can ping you at any time and you'll respond to it, that's going to affect your family life. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying don't be engaged offline, but it's a knob. Adjust it if you need to talk with your family about it and decide what's best.
Yeah, so going back to what Thunder said, it's important to take those little chunks of the day. Like personally, I still live with my parents, so well, what? I'm a college student. Don't judge me. But I take certain, like we watch certain shows at night together, just to get that time together.
Have you built that stuff like into your own constant schedule at this point? Is that the
Pretty
thing
much,
that you
yeah.
Movie time.
movie time is fantastic for doing that stuff. Great. Any thoughts on that? Okay, cool. I love this question. This question is fantastic. How do you identify yourself first? Husband, wife, spouse, programmer, streamer? Who wants to take that one? Because that's a really good one.
Well, it depends on who I'm talking to. That's true. If I'm at my workplace, streaming rarely ever comes up. It's a professional business place, so as a IT manager, I don't really talk about what I like to do in my off time, because it's like, oh, I stream on Twitch. You do what? What's Twitch? Oh, YouTube? Yeah. Oh, it's like a live Twitch. Oh. And you just get that funny look, and I'm sure a lot of you have encountered all of that. So, it's just usually something I don't worry about. If it's here at TwitchCon, it's like I stream this, and so what do you do during your day job? Oh, I work on computers. So
Keep it simple.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to do it. It's a little both. It's a little everything, and it's what label you feel comfortable with when you interact with a certain person, is my opinion. And you don't have to pick one or the other. You can be both. You can be neither if you choose to be neither in that, or you can just pick one for that time being.
Who else wants to jump on that one?
I identify a lot as, father, because that's my big thing. Husband, father, and then my day job is always going to be my day job. Streaming will never be full time for me. It is always a hobby. It's a hobby I love, and it's a hobby that pays for itself, and that's how I treat it. But I'm always, a software tester at heart. That's my real passion in life to do, and I don't have any doubts about that. So to be able to balance that out too is a good thing. I make sure you know who you are, what you want to do, and where you're going with it, and decide that early on, because it'll help you down the road.
Has that really driven how those self-imposed labels, right? Have they ever driven your streaming content in a different way as well?
There was a time when I tried to push it to be full-time, and I was making it. It was never comfortable, but I was making it. But then I realized, you know what? I can provide much better doing the way I was doing it, and getting back to the core of, it's a hobby I love to do. I love playing games and talking to people while I do it, and just go with it that way. It has really flipped back and forth.
Sure.
And it will do so for anybody almost. You'll get that moment of doubt of, am I really doing the right thing for myself? So it's good to be self-critical about that.
And to touch on that just slightly, I've seen a lot of streamers that they hit like partner and they immediately quit their job and go or something. And there's been a few it's worked really good from. I have a few members on my stream team that they quit their job and they're doing like 800 people now, and they're flying around. The companies are paying them to come visit them and stuff like that, and it works. But that's a very much minority. Based on streamer numbers last year, I calculated it right before because I was interested again. less than 0.1% of people on Twitch right now on the platform ever make partner. So
Something like 50% had 0 to 1 viewers, I think.
yeah, it's crazy, and don't let that discourage you. But those are the actual numbers. So if you're going to look at your finances on a realistic basis, you always keep those numbers in mind. Treat it as fun. Have fun with it. That's how I started. I just started playing games for 2 or 3 people that wanted to see what game I was playing because I was playing Wolfenstein, and it just exploded. And I had a lot of good fun with it. But I'm still working my daytime job. And I stream full time because I love it and it pays for itself, and I have a great community behind me. So, my advice to people is always work it, have fun, do your day job, and if you get to a point where it starts feeling like it can become more, evaluate where you choose to go from there, but don't just make a leap without giving it a serious consideration, because there's things like no health care when it comes to streaming. You have to pay for that, depending on what country you're in. There's no 401k package. There's no investments. You're living off of just that money. And
There's no PTO.
yeah, if you don't stream, you're not making anything. There's no sick days. So, go from it there.
I would say house husband. I mean, I already made my joke in my bio, but beyond making it less stressful to explain what I do to my in-laws, I say house husband because those are my priorities. Like, my wife has a really demanding career that consumes a lot of her mental energy, and I've decided that I want to dedicate myself to supporting her career and taking care of the things that are little, that aren't physics, so that she doesn't have to worry about them. But I am a streamer too, and I know it's really popular to talk about streaming as a hobby versus streaming as a career. And I think the music industry is a really good comparison. A girl who likes to play guitar is in a different category than like Lady Gaga, right? But there's a middle ground that we don't talk about a lot. There's a girl who likes to play guitar. There's a girl that plays guitar regularly, is in a band, practices every Tuesday and Thursday, tries to look for local gigs and performances and venues. Like, she's still not Lady Gaga, and importantly, maybe she never wants to actually be Lady Gaga. She might be fine just playing local shows and working a real job to pay the bills, but she's what I'd call a serious hobbyist, and I really am a strong proponent of the serious hobby model. I think you can pursue a hobby seriously without it being a fundamental part of your identity, and without needing it to like blow up and become your only source of income. Like, you can get to a point where you're happy with where you are and stop.
I need to find a condensed version that's a tattoo on my chest, because that is
Kinda say so.
damn good. I love that. That was fantastic. How do you even find or make the time for streaming, or have the energy to do it? Or how do you have time and energy for streaming?
I fortunately have a set schedule at work, so I get off at the same time every day. I come home like right around this time. I allow maybe like an hour to kind of just relax, eat dinner, make dinner, maybe watch like a short show on Netflix for a little bit. I take about an hour and a half to get ready for stream, but the whole time I'm doing that, I'm browsing the internet, Twitter, everything, making, that's my social media time as well. And then I try to stream on a good night for 4 hours before I go to sleep. But of course, more social media after that. And as far as energy, we don't talk about that.
What is energy?
What is energy? E equals MC.
The simple fact of the matter is that sometimes you don't always have the energy to do it. All right? You're going to come home from a hard day, just a little bit more tough than any other day, and you're going to be like, I'm wiped mentally, and I got to stream. Don't do it. You'll hurt yourself, and you'll hurt your performance for your community. And let them know, but communicate it. Say, I'm just wiped, guys. I have to have a day. We'll make it up on one of my days off. I'll do a bonus cast or something like that. Think about it that way. If you're not feeling the energy, don't try to. Don't push it. That's the road to burnout.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do that every day. It's like, I'm tired, but sometimes I'm less tired and I can do a show. And I try to make sure that if I miss one, I cover it down the road. Or I do a longer one on the weekend.
And the big thing about that is to remember is if you're really low energy and this is not your normal stream, if someone comes into your channel and sees you for the first time, is that what you want them to see?
Yep.
Wouldn't you rather be off air and then maybe that person comes at the time and they actually see you on their game? Because they're more likely to follow if it's what they're going to always see, or they're more likely to stay if it's what they're always going to see, versus, oh, I don't like what I see, and they're gone, and that person will never visit your channel again because they've seen you. It's done. You get one shot with people usually, and you got to make it your best impression. So, be on your game.
First impressions are everything.
Yep. For me on this one, it's routine. It's literally about Thunderstone's routine. I get up at about 6:30 a.m., 7, and I'm out the door in about half an hour. Get into work at about 8:15, and go until about 5:15, and I'm home about 6. It's not timed or anything, I swear. I make food, play with my dogs for about an hour and a half. About 7:30, 7:45, I'm on air, and I go till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And that's during the week, except Wednesdays. And then Saturdays, I started about 2, and I ended about 10. Do 8 hours there. Sometimes it might start early, and then sometimes it may go later, depending if I like the game. I was playing through Control, and I went, instead of 8 hours, 12 hours. I was going to like 2 a.m. because I just had so much fun playing it. So it's all about what you're playing and what your energy level is and how people are interacting with you and if you're enjoying it. Depends on how you feel about continuing, or if you're just like, okay, it's 8 hours, I'm done now. I'm just like, I'm getting tired of playing a game, I need to go sleep. And that can really depend on how much sleep you've had the day before, how tiring your job's been this week, and a dozen other factors, you know. If you have a spouse or a loved one, how good the week's been with them, if you've had stresses in your relationship, et cetera, et cetera.
Has that kind of regimented schedule helped as well in terms of building your channel too?
I think so overall. You know, I hovered about the same number because I can't really put more time to it.
Sure.
Because I treat it as a hobby that's full time. It's 28 to 32 hours. If I put like 60 hours a week into it, my channel would probably grow more, but it might not.
Right.
So do I want to take that? At the moment, I'm happy not taking that risk. I'm happy with the community and people that I've built, but I mean, so many factors go into growing a channel. It's hard to say if a routine helps it or not.
You stream more hours, you're buying more lottery tickets. One of them could win, but
Exactly.
Yeah. Or you could just be more salty towards the end of your stream. Like, doing this for you.
I'd agree with y'all on routine though. Rigid schedule, stick to it if you can. My viewers can set their watch to my go live time, and it makes it so much easier to know I'm going to start at this time and I'm probably going to wrap around this time every day.
Yeah.
And it helps a lot with your energy level if you know you can psych yourself up for it for the hour leading up, and then you can die down afterward before you go to sleep.
Yep.
Yeah. Most of us. Oh, did you?
Consistency isn't a bad thing when it comes to streaming. Let your community know exactly when they can expect to find you, and make sure, like I said, you communicate if you're going to miss a day. Or a stream.
And definitely skip if you need to.
Yeah. Also, make sure you have at least half an hour to an hour after your stream to wind down, because you will need it. Yeah, it's part of you have your energy off your stream, your mind's wandering through all the stuff you did on your stream and everything like that. It's going to take you a while to wind down usually. It's very few nights that I can just go to bed and just crash.
Yeah.
So, you know, give yourself time after, which means if I get off air at 11, I know I'm up till midnight. And then I have to be up in 6 hours, 6.5 hours. So, you know, you plan that accordingly for when you got to be up the next day for your job.
Yeah. Most of us don't have the luxury of streaming from a wonderful booth or from a studio, so we always have to deal with things that are happening within the home. How do you deal with family-related distractions like babies crying and other stuff?
That's all you, man.
I love this loving look across the table. It's like, you know what you did. You know what you did.
By building an audience that understands those distractions. It took me a really long time to get to that mental state, though. When I first started out, I was really stressed out about anything and everything that could drive viewers away and drive walk-ins away. But I'm kind of more of a quality over quantity guy now. Like if I have a viewer that gets frustrated and quits watching me because I occasionally have to get up to go take care of my niece who's crying, do I really want that person in my community anyway? You know, I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to minimize distraction. Like I'm not saying go buy a boombox and play a looping recording of a baby crying to drive away as many people as you can. I think it's professional to try to minimize your distractions, but you know, I try to time my niece's naps with my streaming time. She naps in a different room. My stream battle station, you know, everyone has all these monitors. I also have a baby monitor so I can see what she's doing and see if she wakes up or needs anything. And when she does wake up, sometimes I have to pause the stream, and I work really hard to build a community that gets that they're not going to get upset at me for that kind of distraction. I probably grow a little bit more slowly as a result, but I'd rather get one new viewer who's cool with my situation than 100 fair weather viewers that are going to bounce at the sight of any kind of distraction like that.
How do you deal with your husband wanting your attention sometimes, Thunderstones?
I completely unplug on Fridays because I have to get up so early. I have to get up at 4 for work on Saturdays. So I take the whole Friday evening off. We watch a movie, we eat a nice dinner, And like I said, just like in breaks, we usually always get to eat lunch and dinner together. So that, that's a few hours right there. There are some days where I'm just like, I'm really tired, I have a headache, I'm gonna take off. That's even more quality time together. So I do make it known that like, hey, I need to take a minute, or take a day, because work was rough. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll make it up to you. And then that's where the quality time comes in, because you really need that to recharge. That's how I recharge. I just need to kind of unplug for a little bit, and I'm usually just right back at it again the next day, all good to go.
I have dogs, and I've always had dogs. So what's fun is sometimes when all of a sudden you're like, I'll play the game, and you're like, oh no. Oh no. I'll be right back, guys. One of my dogs just had a little bit of fun on the carpet. Give me like 10 minutes.
That is the worst DLC ever.
It is.
My cats are the hardest boss sometimes. I've died in Dark Souls because of my cat, so.
Yeah, so it's having a community that understands your life. For me, my dogs are an integral part of my stream. Wiggles, my corgi, I've had her for 2 years. She's been on camera every stream since she's been a puppy. And when she was a puppy, she was laying there all the time. So I had a bed next to me because she would just sleep most of the time. They're puppies, they sleep. And I just put her in the bed, and I would have the camera on her while I'm streaming, so I could just look up and see, oh, she's doing this. Oh, she's doing her pee dance. And part of it became the chat starting to let me know when she started fidgeting, so I could run her out. So like, crates, you're not paying attention to her. She's about to pee in the bed. That never happened, I promise. So, having your chat also be interactive with those times, like Firecrow said, he has the peanut gallery. It becomes part of the stream too.
Some of the most humorous times in my streams is when she sticks her head in and just makes a smart comment. I'm like, ow.
So just like, having them understand that there's sometimes you just have to leave, but then also building some fun into those times when you have to leave too. Mm-hmm. So.
We touched upon this question or this topic a little bit earlier, but I kind of want to flip it a little bit. So what happens when you need to take off time? But I want to talk about that in terms of, we'll dig to that, and then I have another bridge question for that. Go ahead.
Oh boy.
Finals?
Finals. Yeah. When you're in school, streaming schedules bend to the will of your academic schedules. They snap. Nothing follows the normal flow of time. Everything blends together. The space-time continuum breaks down. Where were we?
That sounds like a bad finals period right there.
That's every year.
Normal finals period, okay.
Yeah, that's normal. But yeah, when you got to know when to take time off. This goes back to the priorities, the priorities thing from earlier. You have to know what to make, where to make your priorities at. And for example, me. That's a high priority.
What do you tell people who are in school when they're full-time school and then they want to stream?
Don't.
Well, like when they want to stream, not necessarily
actually,
full-time, but even just like for fun.
That was just the start of the sentence.
Oh, okay.
I was getting there.
Okay.
Thanks for the laughter, but don't put off your classwork. Streaming will still be there. You're paying to be in school. Do that.
Yeah.
It's your money. You paid to be there.
And you can still achieve great things. You're a partner,
Yes.
and you did it while you were a full-time student.
Yes, I did. Somehow.
He's not quite sure anymore.
I don't know. It just happened.
That's awesome, by the way. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's super cool. Anyone else want to jump on that part of the question?
Yeah, I had to take 6 months off of streaming. My wife got really sick, and she had this depression that was just affecting her work. She went on family medical leave, and when I decided to take the time off, it wasn't clear that it was just going to be for 6 months. As far as I knew, it was indefinite. We didn't know when she was going to get better. And when this happened, my audience insisted. They said, please take the time off, take care of your wife. I know they were bummed to not get the content, but I really got the sense that they were more concerned for my wife and me than for the product, right? She did get better with treatment. I came back, nearly all my viewers came back. And I know I keep hammering this in, but if this sort of thing matters to you, like try to build an audience that cares about you as a person as much as they care about your channel as a product. And it's harder to grow this way. Like we have a really big problem in the gaming community right now where we are blurring the line between person and product. When you see how game developers are treated by fans or Twitch staff is treated by fans, when we're upset about a product, we say really nasty things and we forget that there are people that are behind that product. So when you have walk-ins pop in saying these nasty things about devs and Twitch staff and that sort of a thing, like the way you respond in those interactions matters. It sets a tone for your channel, it sets a tone for your community. If you choose to accept that or even join the rant with them, there's a really good chance those people are going to stick around and yeah, maybe you'll have another viewer. But if you call them out and say, let's maybe have a little bit more empathy, not because they're bad, they'll sometimes just leave because they didn't come in wanting to have an argument. They came in wanting to complain about something. But at the end of the day, they're the sort of viewers that are probably going to treat you like a product rather than a person eventually. So you kind of have to ask the question, is it for the best if they just leave?
Yeah. Small pivot. What about, these are the kind of usual things that happens in our lives where we have the usual parts of the day that go along with dogs being dogs and babies being babies. But what about when you have something that's super unexpected, like death in the family or something like that?
Yeah. That is the hardest blow you can have when you're looking to entertain people. The first year we did this was the year my mom passed away. And Grace threw that question at me. It's still a tough question. Still brings tears to my eyes because you always miss them. So don't be afraid of taking the time. Everybody who's human is going to understand that it hurts and you're hurting and you need time to heal. If they can't get that in your community, that is not the type of person you need in your community. You're not an automaton. You can't just turn off your feelings and go, I have to stream now. I have to be happy, happy, joy, joy for everybody.
Right.
It doesn't work. And sometimes you might want to talk about it to your chat and let them know this is what's going on in my life. This is how much it's affecting me. I love you guys. I want to be there for you guys. I want to entertain you guys. I want to hang out with you guys, but I have to shut down. And do it. Please take the time you need to heal because nothing else really matters after that until you get your head right. That's the biggest thing you can do is if you get hurt like that, you lose somebody you care about, you lose a pet, doesn't matter what you lose. Heal yourself because you'll be better for it.
I think one of the things that we always talk about is being as authentic with not only ourselves, but with our communities that we've built and ones that we're hoping to build. Firecrow, you said that eloquently and beautifully. I'm sure that all of those bits and pieces help to formulate the conversations to yourselves about how you want to be successful on the platform and how you want to grow your channels and be successful while doing this full time. How are you feeling about, having done this for a while, what you've seen has been working to hopefully successfully grow yourselves on this platform while doing this work and doing your 9-to-5 jobs or 9 to God knows how long jobs in this space? I'm kind of run down the list.
A lot of it's routine, getting that set routine and finding enough time to grow your community. On Twitch, the general thing is more hours equals more viewers. It's a generalization. It's not always right, and it depends how long someone's been on the platform, how long they've been doing it. There's a dozen different factors that go in. What I generally tell people, and I recommend them, is you love Fortnite, you love League of Legends, great, never play them.
Oversaturated.
It's really true, because if you play a game like BioShock, there's maybe 10 people in the directory, because great, now you can see 10. If you play Fortnite, there's 1 million people in the directory. No one's ever going to find you with 1 viewer usually in Fortnite. You may get a hit or miss every now and then, but if you play BioShock, generally you'll get more viewers. If you play a game like Warframe or Elite Dangerous, things that people don't have a lot of people in the directory, a lot of viewers in their channels, you're more likely to have somebody drop by and see it. So the games you play can matter. The hours that those games are popular or not popular can matter. Finding the games you enjoy that hits on really makes a difference. And it's unfortunate but true. Things like Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, League of Legends, Fortnite, what have you, the top 10 to 20 games on Twitch in the directories, you won't really be seen in them just because they have to scroll down through 20 pages to see them. And while 0.01% of Twitch viewers may do that, how many people are really doing it? Ask yourself, do you scroll down 20 pages when you want to find somebody? Some of you will say yes, because like I do, because I like looking at smaller channels and finding people who are up and coming, but the majority of people will say, no, I'm going to click on somebody that maybe has 300 people and watch them because they kind of know how to interact and have fun with people and make my fun viewing experience. But then if you go to a channel with 10 choices, now you get a pick. So
I'd scroll through grades. I'd scroll.
yeah, you got to hit the ad
Chrome
scroll.
crashes from pagination.
I mean, it helps support them,
I dig it.
Affiliates are getting part of ad revenue now, so
Shout out to, I'm happy about that. That's a very good change.
support the people.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any thoughts about how to successfully grow on the platform?
When I first started streaming, I didn't even have a computer. I streamed directly from PS4 for about a year.
Yep.
I used all the revenue from that alone. I set it all aside, bought myself a streaming computer and all that webcam and all that jazz. So all that paid for itself. I was just, patient, saved up everything from it. When I decided I liked streaming, I would look at the directory first. So like, let's say I was really into Overwatch at the time, but like the Overwatch directory is, so I would look at other games I had, like Skyrim. That's a really solid directory, even now. You can just start out, probably get some viewers. So I did that for, a little bit, kind of built up a little community and kind of went from there, just branched out. So it's definitely possible, just it takes time.
Yep. And you touched on a great point is when you go into streaming, don't invest like $3,000 into equipment unless you want that equipment for more than just streaming or that equipment really makes you happy. Let your channel help build your equipment based on if it's going to become a thing. If they're going to like you, they're going to like you whether you're with just a PS4 camera or with a regular streaming PC. You may get more people by having the streaming PC, but it's very hit or miss. Don't invest into it thinking it's going to pay off because it may never pay itself off.
Yeah. Please think about where you want to go with it, what you want to play, and buy the rig that works for you for that. But be careful how you do that. When I got partnered, for instance, I had a $25 USB no-name mic. You don't need to have all the toys right away. So think about not breaking your bank account or credit cards trying to get the best of the best equipment, because when it comes right down to it, you're the best piece of equipment for your stream.
Another thing I will get tattooed on my chest. Thank you. In your opinion, what are realistic goals for success on Twitch? This is a really good question.
I can tell you what success is not. In the business world, we have what I'd call an ambition fetish. I think that's even worse in the streaming world. But that doesn't mean that it's never okay to be content with where you are or what you're doing. We say that it's okay to celebrate a milestone, like I got 10 average viewers, but there's a reason we use that word milestone and not finish line. There's this question that's underlying that says, what's next? Great, you've got 10 viewers. When's it going to be 20? When's it going to be 40? And some people are ambitious, and that's okay, but the sort of product that you can offer as a streamer changes entirely with the size of your audience. Some channel concepts don't scale, and there are other channels concepts that only work at scale. So my viewer count's in the dozens. If you made a clone of me and magically gave my clone tens of thousands of viewers and set us off streaming the same games with the same commentary, after like a year, we would have completely different content. It would entirely change. There are things that a small streamer can offer that a big one can't, and vice versa. So like, I can't really play a lot of those audience engagement games where you have all sorts of audience participation because I'm only going to have like 4 or 5 people that are going to be doing it. But I also have a chat that moves really slowly, so I can basically respond to anything anyone types. So basically what I'd say, like, I've got some hardcore viewers that would probably leave if I got too big because the reason they're here is because it's small and intimate. Be okay with embracing that. It's okay to see what's special with what you have right now. It's okay to be content with where you are, not stress out all the time about when you're going to level up, because you might never level up. You may have topped out. You might be at 30 average concurrence forever. And not only is that okay, it might even be something that's special about your channel.
That's fantastic. I love that. Any other thoughts?
I mean, you nailed it.
Yeah.
This is something I want to talk about real quick. Don't take this as a bragging point, but I have on my team probably the smallest concurrent viewership on the team. They did an incredible job for St. Jude during the St. Jude playoff season, beyond anybody's expectations. The size of your community doesn't matter. It really doesn't. if you have that connection and you have that reach with your community, that's success. If you're making one person smile that had a bad day and was thinking about very negative, dark thoughts, that's success, guys. That's how you measure success. One person, one opinion at a time.
What about you, Matoro?
Just leave a good footprint. Whether it's making somebody smile, raising money for charity, just do good.
Amen.
Yeah.
I dig that.
I think they all basically hit on it. It's very subjective to each and every one of us. Each one of us has goals, but it's also good to temper them realistically, such as the number I threw out earlier. Is partner a realistic goal for you? It can be. It can be based on how much time and effort you want to put into it. But I see a lot of people going, hey, I love streaming, I want to do it, and then they stream like once every 2 weeks. And they're like, I'm going to make partner, and it's like, it's not really realistic right now. It's okay to want to make that, but you also have to go, is the effort that I'm putting in going to match my goals? And while you may put in the effort, you may not hit your goal, but you are also matching your effort to what your goal is going to be. So it's a good goal to have, but keep your expectations realistic for what you're putting in. And if your goal is to have fun playing, and that's still my goal, is to have fun doing it. My normal streams on my normal games run about 150 to 300 viewers, but for the past like 4 months I've been doing GTA, and it's dropped from there, GTA RP, because my normal core audience doesn't enjoy watching GTA RP, which is fine for me because, and it sounds really mean, but I need to be able to play a game and have fun, and the games that I had in my library and what I was looking at, nothing was really striking a chord with me until I hit GTA RP for a while, and I just kind of had to cleanse my system again to be able to go back to playing certain types of other games because I played them all and there was nothing for me to do in them. So I got to a point where, okay, I feel good about playing the other games again that might be towards more of my core audience. And it hurt my stream a little, and you know, numbers are numbers. I can realistically and objectively see, yeah, if I play GTA RP, I'm gonna get like 70 people, but if I play Warframe over here, I'm gonna get 300, you know? But what's good for my mental health and core being when I stream? Is it something that's going to take me to 70 and possibly hurt my viewership, but also make me feel better, make it not a job, make it not a chore for me to come home and stream? Because I was getting to a point where I'm like, I really don't want to stream this week because I'm playing a game I don't enjoy. But then I started playing GTA and having another community within my own community to enjoy stuff with.
Because you have all crushed, did anyone else want to add anything really quick? No? Cool. Because you all crushed this already, I think we can probably skip it unless you had something to add specifically about burnout stuff. Skip it?
Yeah, I think we pretty well covered
Cool.
that.
What are some practical tools that you use for creating your schedule? This is really good, too.
Twitch just came out with a wonderful new scheduling tool. Just here, they announced it at the convention. There's a schedule for below your stream now panel to schedule what times you're there and what games you're playing. So that's going to be a wonderful new tool to use. It'll be on your dashboard or as a panel/extension in their new thing. Check it out. It's going to be wonderful. Google Calendar is always good. I use Google Calendar here. Otherwise, I would not know where I was going next. I kid you not. I probably would have missed 4 things already. Thunderstones, I know you do a lot of scheduling and organizing at work. What do you use?
I actually don't use anything. I just kind
okay.
of all wing it.
See, I lob it over to her, and she's like, no.
It's all in here.
All osmosis.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know what time I need to like be home by to have a good stream. Like if I get off like an hour late, that's gonna really mess up my whole night.
Yeah.
I know what time I need to like kind of eat dinner by. Like for instance, I get off work at 4. I aim to be live between 6:30 and 7. So I kind of know like when I need to get off work, when I need to get ready, you know. So I guess just years of doing it since I've been doing this about 2 years now.
And it goes
Like,
back to your routine then.
Yeah, so it's just all, you know, saved up there.
Nice.
Because you have school classes to plan as well.
Remember what I said about it bending to my school schedule? Yeah, there's my practical tool.
I dig that.
Whatever fits around your schedule. Then, huh?
Exactly.
Mars, anything to add to this before we skip over?
Just the events page, I think, is great. I put every stream on the events page because it updates to people's time zone, so it saves me a lot of trouble. I got a lot of EU viewers because I stream during EU prime time, so it helps to not have to say, okay, it's Pacific Standard Time and what's the GMT. Events page is great. It sounds like that new scheduler, though, might replace that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, there's,
That tool looks super cool. I'm ready for that to be a thing.
And it shows like the panel of the game you're playing on the schedule. So if you're playing like Destiny or Warframe or League of Legends or whatever, don't play League of Legends. No, it's have fun. That's what I always say is have fun playing the game. But it shows the panel art and then blocks out the time like you would if you were using like Google Calendar or something, which is really nice.
I have one more question, but before I ask it, we have 2 microphones on both sides of the room. We have a full room. If you wanted to ask these wonderful folks a question, get in line now is the time to do it. And if you have some stuff from the chat, please let me know as well. Last question that I'm going to bug you all with is, what's your best tip for folks looking to balance streaming and working full time?
Have fun. I know I've said it probably like 50 times, but I say it at every year at every panel is have fun doing it. You work a day job. You don't need to make it a work job. Streaming for pretty much everyone in this room is probably a passion, a fun thing that you love doing. The dream is to do it full time, but if you're not having fun doing it, you can go work a job that gives benefits, healthcare, 401k, etc., and makes you money. And you can go and hate that job just as much as you'd hate streaming and be better off than you are streaming. Okay? I mean, they give you steady, they get paid time off and all that. So if you're going to do streaming, enjoy yourself with it. If you're going to end up doing streaming full time, have fun with it because otherwise you're just working another crappy job.
Matara?
Building off that, it's a very volatile industry. Don't kid yourself. Make sure it's what you want to do. Make sure you love it. I mean, I'm just echoing what he said, but it's well said.
Marstead?
Don't.
That's fine.
Date or marry someone who will let you play video games. In exchange for cleaning up cat litter and stuff like that.
That is no joke.
Easier said than done. It's really hard for people to get into we're not in a world where you can have a one working partner relationship very often in many parts of the country, but if you happen to live there and you haven't thought about could this work, if you haven't done the math with your significant other, like maybe think about doing the math because there's ways that you can add value that aren't streaming, and then you can stream for your own mental health and you can stream as a fun hobby that makes you feel satisfied.
Yep. Thunder?
Definitely play a game that you want to play because if you're working full time and trying to stream, you probably don't have a lot of off stream time to play whatever you want. And like for me, I have a routine that I know what time I need to get home, eat, etc. So if you're having trouble doing that, you don't need to jump right in and stream 6 days a week if you can't do that. If you could stream like 3 or 4 and that's what works for you, that's amazing. But it definitely take some time and figure out your routine because what works for me might not work for you, So just be patient, figure out what works for you with your routine.
I just want to jump in. Remember, when you do like this full-time streaming schedules that most of us up here do, the game you play on stream is your fun. Make sure your audience knows that you don't get off-air time because that kind of changes their perspective on what games you play and when you play them.
Firecrow?
What everybody else up here has said, start doing it for fun when you start doing it. Use it for relaxation at the end of the day. And don't look at numbers ever when you start out.
No.
Never look at numbers.
Just have fun.
Because that'll just stress you.
Yeah. Before we get to audience questions, give everyone your Twitch channels and your Twitch URLs coming down the line.
Firecrow, twitch.tv/Firecrow. And Firecrow TV on Twitter.
I'm Thunderstones, twitch.tv/Thunderstones, Thunderstones on Twitter. I have an Instagram, I don't really use it a whole lot, but it's Thunderstones with 2 underscores.
I'm Marstead everywhere, Marstead.
I wish it was that easy. Twitch.tv/Matoro. And on Twitter, it's my old name, Matoro Ignika, MATOROIGNIKA, which is where it is everywhere else.
We got to work on that branding for you.
Tell Twitter to give me my name then.
I mean,
no Twitter fights on stage.
I mean, I'm just W Grates, WGRATES everywhere, and I love y'all. Thank you for at least enjoying our talking. Let's hear some questions.
Yeah, we have questions from the audience. I'm gonna go left to right.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, hey. So, what do you do if you are working a job where you're forced to work on call for a week out of a month, and what do you do to try to make sure that people come back to your stream, and even though you tell them, that's how you have to do it? Like, what do you do?
I think I'm probably the closest one that hits this because being the IT manager for my company, I'm always on call. If something breaks in the middle of the night, I will get a call and I'll have to go in and fix it. If it happens on stream, if the whole email server goes down, I'm in. Letting them know that you have a day job in the first place is the thing, and then just keeping that communication, posting in Discord, hey guys, this week I'm on call, so remember streams are, possibly hit or miss. If I get called in, I may have to stop stream right then and go, but I'll always keep you guys informed and let you know what's coming up.
Well, I usually don't stream at all during that week, so.
Well, it's if you stream, it's whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Okay.
For that week, just be like, hey, I'm 3 weeks on and then a week off because I don't have the ability to stream because otherwise we're going to be interrupted every 5 minutes and I'll have to leave. I'll come back and stream for 10 minutes and I'll have to leave again. So, just be transparent and give them that expectation of what is your schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Hey guys, I'm KT Marine, and I am that girl that plays guitar on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Nice.
But my question is about editing. You guys have talked about streaming a lot. In your personal preference, do you try to match your editing days with streaming days so that it's all the technology all in one day and then you have one day to unplug? Or do you use your days off as your editing days versus your live days?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah.
You probably edit the most.
When I try to unplug when I'm off. I give myself at least one day, and then like half a day on some Tuesdays, I'll take the time, but I won't be unplugged totally. I'll be working on stuff for stream. So it's really hard to balance that side of it for a lot of people. But give yourself at least one day totally unplugged from streaming, and you'll generally be all right.
Unplugged means unplugged. Stay off your stuff, basically, because otherwise you're still working, and your mind, even if you don't think so, your subconscious mind will keep you working.
Anybody else?
I just say editing probably also includes other off-stream activities like planning and editing, putting stuff on YouTube. I just try to put out time. I'm going to say I'm going to do this every morning from 9 to 10. That's going to be my off-stream work time, and by scheduling it that way, the same way I have a rigid live schedule, that helps me a lot to deal with it.
Thank you for your question.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
Thanks so much.
Next question.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Alex Prest, and I get your IT life. It's definitely a struggle trying to explain to somebody what you do, but my question is, how do you guys prep for hitting the go live button?
I have my routine, and if I don't hit that go live button, it's not part of the routine. And I get distracted by watching people stream sometimes, and I'm like, oops, guys, sorry, are there technical issues? But basically, for me, the original hump for that is basically I'm going to be on air at 7:30. I have to hit that button at 7:30 because that's when people are expecting me. So having the community behind me expecting that of me makes me feel like I have to do something for someone else. They're expecting me to be there. I need to live up to that expectation because they're putting their faith in me. They're coming, even if it's like 10 people. This is 10 people taking time out of their day to come see you, and you've told them that you're going to be there. You're going to let those people down, and that's, for me, that's how I can't let people down like that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, there are some days where I kind of struggle to go live, like, oh, no one's going to show up, or I'm just not in the right mindset. And I'll stare at my chat, the OBS screen, waiting to go live, and I'll see a few regulars pop in while I'm offline, but like right at my live time. And they'll pop in and say hi, like before I'm even streaming. And I just could get kind of emotional. I'm like, well, I'm doing this for them. I got this. I can put myself up. And that's what keeps me going, really. I think of them, how they're there like every night, whether it's 5, 10, 15 people. They're there for you. Those are real people. Like, just imagine all these people. They're there, was taking time out of their busy day. And that's what keeps me going with that.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Great question. Next up.
Hey, my name is Jeffrey McNair. Honestly, I answered like 3 questions while I was waiting, but I'm a father too. I'm married. My wife's back there. My question to you is, I've been streaming pretty much steady for the past 6 months, been on and off for the past 2. I work a very, very time-consuming job. But I would like to get my personality out there. I want everybody to see who I am, right? So my question to you is, like, what do you say to a person that has been doing it for that long and feels like, okay, this is it. I can't do it. Like, what do you think?
Honestly, that's something that anybody who streams goes through, period. I go through it at least once every 3 months. But what do you say? You have to look at the difference of, do I feel like I'm doing what I want to do? Is this game something that makes me happy playing it and is interesting to people? Am I talking? Interaction is a key to stuff like that. So you always have to be evaluating what you're doing on stream. Look at your past VODs and say, have I made progress on something? Do I need to change something up? That's how you decide if you want to keep doing it or not. But at the end of the day, it's, do you still enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the big one.
Consider that we're all very susceptible to the causation fallacy, that if we see that the numbers are dropping or they're not rising, it's definitely because we did something wrong. It's not just random chance, right? Random chance is a really big part of streaming. What's the line that luck is the intersection between preparation and opportunity? All you can do is prepare as much as you can, and every hour that you're streaming is you're pulling the one-armed bandit. You're buying another lottery ticket, hoping that someone's going to show up. So just being kind and gentle to yourself and saying, you know what, maybe things aren't going well because I haven't won the lottery today. And like we were saying, just keep doing it if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, just stop.
And are you still having fun? And if not, maybe take a break for a month or two and be like, okay, I feel like streaming again, or I want to invest my time into something that is going to make me have fun and is going to make me happy. And that's okay to do. It's okay to not feel like you don't want to stream anymore, but have fun.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Next up.
Hi, my name is Quinn, Mighty Eskimo everywhere else. And my question was basically, for a person who has a lot of side hobbies, like I like playing D&D with my friends, I like going out and hanging out with family, spending time with the dog. For you guys, has there been anything that you needed to, for lack of a better term, sacrifice to be able to enjoy your other hobby, which is the streaming? Or on a side, was like cutting down how much you stream the sacrifice?
What is a social life? Why are you laughing at that? It's true. It's true.
Like, what is sleep for 500, Alex?
Yep, that's it.
The bummer one for me is video games, actually. Like, I used to work at Subway, and you work at Subway for long enough, you don't want to eat Subway anymore. And I love video games, but like, my channel is all about blind playthroughs, so like, I literally can't play a new game when it comes out because I'm sacrificing my blind playthrough. I need to get it on the channel. So it's kind of a bummer that, I feel like I probably shouldn't play a game unless if I'm live, and my viewers tell me, just play it, dude, it's fine. But that's kind of been my sacrifices. I only play games if I'm streaming.
You have time for maybe 2 more questions.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erin S. I work full-time from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., and I also manage 2 websites on the side for family and friends. I live with my parents, and my office is in my bedroom because we don't have a spare room, and I use my computer both for my day job and for streaming. So what exactly would be the best route to go about separating the thought of that computer for work versus my personal life, video game streaming, that kind of thing, when it's all in that same room?
There is no good answer for you. I hate to be that brutally honest, but there's no way to do it without getting a whole different computer and a whole different space. Because the space you're in is going to matter the most because it changes our mental aspect. I have a separate streaming area in my house for streaming because it just changed my mental aspect of, okay, I'm coming in here, we're going to do work, and I'm going to play games. Yep. And there's just no good way to do it, unfortunately. I wish I could tell you different.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation as you. My stream office is in my living room, which is a really bad idea. Like, my wife will be watching TV, and I'll be there in the stream office, and I'm just like, I just need to get up and go. And I think that the way I deal with it is by rigidly scheduling everything. That when it is between 8 and 9 a.m., that is when I do stream stuff. And if it's not between 8 and 9 a.m., I don't. I don't sit there on the weekend when we're watching Netflix or something like that. I try to avoid it.
Cool. Last question.
Hey, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about, over the course of a week, roughly how many hours you stream on each day. How many on weekends, how many on weekdays, how many days a week do you take off, or do you really have a rigid number of hours you do over the course of a typical week?
Did you already hear mine? Okay. 3 to 4 hours Monday through Friday, off on Wednesdays, and then from 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. on the weekends, which is 8 hours. And then sometimes I go for 10 to 12, and I usually extend it, so I can be up as late as 2 a.m. sometimes on a Saturday or Sunday.
Next up.
So going back to what Great said earlier about Google Calendar, yeah. Since I